My name is Claire Montgomery. At 32, I thought I had it all figured out. A growing tech company, a husband who claimed to support my every move, and a life that seemed as polished and promising as the sleek offices of Silicon Valley. I never expected to be sitting alone in a high-rise conference room, facing the final draft of divorce papers that would sever my life in two. And yet, here I am. The papers are still on my desk, the weight of them pressing down on my chest like a heavy fog. Ethan's signature is unmistakably neat at the bottom of the page, a cold and final line. His words from earlier this morning are still echoing in my mind, cutting deeper with each repetition. You're not cut out for this world, Claire. You never will be. This, whatever this is, it's just your little hobby. Hobby. That's what he'd always called it. My startup. The business I built from nothing, clawing my way up in an industry dominated by men. I never wanted to be just a wife. I wanted to build something real, something that mattered. But Ethan, my college sweetheart, my partner for the last 5 years, never saw it that way. He was always the practical one, the one who thought real estate and investments were the only ways to make it big. My work, it was always just a distraction, a trinket at best. Now, as I sit here, staring at these papers, I wonder how long I had been blind. I had defended him, trusted him, believed in our life together. How could I have been so wrong? I hear a quiet knock at the door. My secretary, Sophie, steps in. Her heels click sharply against the polished floors, the sound cutting through the silence that feels suffocating in this room. She's holding a stack of papers in her hands, but her expression is anything but businesslike. Her usual confident stride is slightly off, her eyes avoiding mine. Sophie, I begin, my voice colder than I intend. What's going on? She hesitates. It's only a second, but it feels like a lifetime. Then she places the papers on my desk with an unnatural amount of care. I can't quite put my finger on it, but something is off. Sophie has been with me for over a year now, helping with everything from client communications to the finer details of the upcoming acquisition. We've worked closely, and I've always thought of her as more than just an employee. She was like family, but now her every movement feels distant, guarded. There's something I need to tell you, Claire, Sophie says, her voice just a little too calm. I've decided to resign. I freeze. Resign? Sophie has been one of the most loyal members of my team. She was the one who pushed me to negotiate the best terms for the acquisition, the one who sat with me for late nights and long calls, helping me bring my company to the brink of success. I force myself to breathe, not wanting to show the confusion swirling in my mind. What? I've been offered a new opportunity, she says, her smile tight, too tight. I'm sorry. It's been great working with you. My heart skips a beat, and I feel the room close in around me. New opportunity. This isn't like Sophie. She's been with me through the long hours, the stress, the highs and the lows. We were in this together. Or so I thought. I stand up, the chair scraping back with a sound that feels too loud in the tense silence. I see. My words come out clipped. I'll have HR process everything then. Sophie nods, but before she turns to leave, she lingers at the door for just a moment too long. And then she says something that chills me to the bone. I think you're going to do just fine, Claire, with or without him. Her words hang in the air long after she's gone. For a split second, I think I imagine the slight smirk on her lips, the knowing look in her eyes. But then, it's gone. Just like that. Sophie's departure is strange, unsettling, and I can't help but feel like a door has just closed on something bigger than a mere resignation. As I sit back down at my desk, I try to shake the feeling that everything I've built, everything I thought I knew, is about to come crashing down around me. And then my phone buzzes with a notification. Acquisition deal closing in 48 hours. The irony isn't lost on me. Ethan always saw my company as a hobby, but now it's worth more than I ever imagined. Too bad he never understood it, and I never truly saw the cost of trying to prove him wrong. I glance at the door. Sophie's footsteps have long since faded, but the sense of unease she left behind lingers. Something is wrong. I don't know what, but I can feel it. It's only a matter of time before everything begins to unravel. The next morning, I try to focus on the acquisition meeting, but my mind keeps drifting back to Sophie's sudden resignation. Something feels off, but I can't quite put my finger on it. Maybe I'm just paranoid, or maybe my marriage falling apart has left me unable to trust anyone. As I sit through the meeting with the potential buyers, discussing figures and projections, I can't help but notice that my thoughts keep circling back to Sophie, to the strange finality of her departure. Was there something more to it than just a job offer? After the meeting ends, I return to my office, hoping to push the unease aside. The day is supposed to be about wrapping up the final details of the acquisition, getting my team ready for the transition, and moving on. But it feels like the calm before a storm. The hum of the office around me is loud enough to be distracting. My employees are busy with their tasks, the energy in the room alive with the excitement of what's to come. But every time I glance towards Sophie's desk, now empty, a weight presses down on my chest. I pick up the phone to call her, but the words don't come. My thumb hovers over the screen, and for a moment, I just sit there, staring at it. I'm not sure what I'd even say, but I need answers. I need to know if there's more going on than she let on. My thoughts are interrupted by an email notification from the legal team, finalizing documents for your review. I dismiss the email, feeling a familiar sting in my chest. How can everything be going according to plan while everything else is falling apart around me? I push the thought aside and focus on the documents, but just as I'm about to sign off on everything, my phone buzzes. It's a message from my personal investigator, Greg. Claire, I've been looking into Sophie. I think you should know that she's been in contact with your ex-husband. The blood drains from my face. My hands freeze on the phone, and I feel the room start to tilt. Ethan? Why on earth would Sophie be in contact with him? They barely knew each other, only the odd exchange at company parties or during meetings. But the idea that she's been keeping secrets, working with him, it's too much to ignore. Greg continues. I've traced her movements. She met with him 3 times in the last month, and before you ask, it wasn't just casual. My mind races, and for the first time in days, I feel a spike of real fear. Why would Sophie, my most trusted employee, be involved with Ethan? Did she know about the private sale discussions I had kept so carefully guarded? Was she working with him to undermine me, to take advantage of everything I've built? I put the phone down and pace, trying to process the flood of thoughts rushing through my head. How could I have been so blind? Sophie wasn't just my assistant. She knew the ins and outs of every project I was working on. She had access to confidential information, sensitive data, and the kind of knowledge that could ruin me if it fell into the wrong hands. Was she working against me the whole time? Did she set me up? I glance at my phone again, almost compulsively checking for another message, another piece of the puzzle. It's almost as if I can feel the walls closing in around me. The acquisition is just days away. The deal is supposed to be my escape, my chance to rebuild, to prove Ethan wrong. But if this is true, if Sophie was betraying me, if she and Ethan had been plotting against me from the inside, everything I've worked for could be destroyed in an instant. I don't know what to do next. Every part of me wants to confront Sophie immediately, demand answers. But what if I'm wrong? What if this is all just paranoia, just a result of my broken marriage and my desperate need for something to cling to? The thought of losing everything I've worked for, everything I've sacrificed for, is unbearable. But the truth is, I don't know who to trust anymore. I glance at my calendar. Tomorrow, the acquisition team will be here for final reviews. My team is depending on me, but I can't ignore the gnawing feeling in the pit of my stomach any longer. Something is wrong, and I can feel it in every fiber of my being. I have to find out the truth, no matter what it takes. I pick up the phone and dial Greg's number again, my fingers trembling as I press the screen. This is it, the moment of reckoning. My life is about to change, and I don't know whether that means success or destruction. As the phone rings, I catch a glimpse of the clock on the wall. 3 p.m. Only a few hours left until everything comes to a head. If I'm not careful, I'll lose it all. The hours feel like days as I sit in my office, the weight of Greg's words pressing heavily on me. The walls seem to close in tighter with every tick of the clock. My hands are shaking, my mind a flurry of possibilities. Sophie and Ethan. The realization that something, no, someone, has been betraying me from the inside has me spiraling. But how deep does this betrayal go? What exactly did Sophie and Ethan discuss? Was this planned all along? Or has something triggered this alliance between them? I try to push it all aside as the acquisition team arrives, but my mind is miles away. Their smiles and firm handshakes feel distant, muffled by the pounding in my ears. They're here for the final round of negotiations, but I can barely concentrate. Every moment I sit across from them, I can feel the tension building inside of me. It's like my life has been reduced to these negotiations, this deal that I've spent years working toward, and yet here I am, realizing it could all come crashing down around me. My pulse quickens as I make small talk, nodding, smiling, pretending everything is fine. But all I can think about is Sophie and Ethan. My mind flashes to the hours they spent together, the secret meetings, the hushed conversations, the emails. The betrayal, if true, would destroy everything, not just my career, but my very identity. When the meeting ends, I feel like I'm suffocating in a room full of strangers. My head is spinning, my thoughts disjointed. I need answers, and I need them now. But there's a problem. If I confront Sophie or Ethan right now, everything could fall apart. The acquisition deal could be at risk. I can't afford to let that happen. Not now. Not when I'm so close. I take a deep breath, forcing myself to focus. The deal is too important. The team has worked tirelessly, and the thought of losing everything makes me feel sick. But as I glance at my phone, the tension inside me surges again. There's an unread message from Greg. I hesitate before opening it, my heart racing. Claire, I found something. Sophie's been in contact with someone else, someone with deep connections to Ethan, someone who could jeopardize the entire acquisition. Meet me tonight. We need to talk. The words hit me like a slap. Who else is involved in this? Who else is conspiring behind my back? I can't help but feel my anger flare. I've been blindsided, and the more I dig into this, the more it feels like the people I've trusted most are the ones plotting against me. Sophie isn't just a secretary anymore. She's become a player in a much bigger game, and it's a game I never thought I'd be caught up in. I glance at the clock, 5 p.m. The office is nearly empty, but I'm frozen in place, gripped by a mixture of dread and determination. I've got a meeting with the legal team in less than an hour, and then I'll have to face Greg. The weight of the unknown presses down on me, and I realize I can't keep putting this off. I have to know the truth, even if it means losing everything I've worked for. The night stretches ahead of me like a black hole, pulling me toward a confrontation I'm not prepared for. I've spent my whole life working toward success, building something real, something meaningful. But now I'm wondering if all of that was just a cover for a betrayal I never saw coming. How could I have missed it? Was I too focused on my work, on the acquisition, on my own ambitions? Or were Sophie and Ethan just that good at hiding their intentions? As I step into the car that will take me to Greg, my phone buzzes again. A new message, this time from Sophie. "I need to talk to you. I think you're in danger." My breath catches in my throat. What does that mean? What has she gotten herself tangled up in? The ride feels like an eternity as the car winds its way through the dark streets of the city. The thought of facing Sophie makes my stomach churn, but I know I have no choice. I need to understand why she betrayed me and what Ethan and his mysterious accomplice are planning. My thoughts swirl in a vortex of rage and disbelief, but one thing is clear: nothing will be the same after tonight. This isn't just about a business deal anymore, it's about survival, and I'm not going to let them destroy me. This section adds layers of suspense and drama, building to the climax of Claire confronting the reality of the betrayal. The pace quickens as Claire's need for answers intensifies, and the tension escalates with the introduction of a mysterious new player and the impending confrontation with Sophie and Greg. It leaves readers hanging, wanting to know how Claire will navigate the threat to everything she's worked for. The air in the room feels thicker now, like I'm breathing through a fog of uncertainty. I sit across from Greg in a small, dimly lit restaurant booth, my fingers gripping the edge of my glass so tightly my knuckles are white. His eyes, usually so calm and collected, are filled with something darker tonight: urgency, fear, maybe even regret. Whatever it is, it has my heart pounding in my chest. "You were right to be suspicious," he says quietly, leaning in closer, his voice barely audible over the background noise. "Sophie's involvement goes much deeper than we thought. She's been feeding information to someone connected to Ethan, and I don't think it's just business. This isn't just about money. There's something else. Something dangerous." His words hit me like a sledgehammer. For a moment, the room spins, and I can hardly breathe. Sophie, Ethan. They've been playing me for fools. I thought I was the one pulling the strings. But it turns out I've been the pawn all along. My mind races, trying to process what Greg's telling me. How long has this been going on? How much have they betrayed me? Dangerous. The word hangs in the air like a ticking time bomb, and the pit in my stomach deepens. "What do you mean, dangerous?" I manage to ask, my voice trembling despite my best efforts to stay composed. Greg glances around, checking to see if anyone is listening, then leans back, his expression grim. "Ethan's been involved with a group that's not just after your company. They've been running a much larger operation, illegal investments, money laundering. They've been using your business as a cover, Claire. Your acquisition, the deal, it's all part of their plan to funnel money. Sophie, she's in too deep. She's been helping them hide the money trail." My blood runs cold. My hands, still gripping the glass, now feel numb. "You're saying they've been using my company as a front for illegal activities? For months?" The words sound unreal, like they can't possibly be true. This isn't just a business betrayal. This is something far worse. The room closes in on me again. I've spent years building this company, shaping it into something meaningful. And now it's all being tainted. I'm trapped in a web I never saw coming. Greg's expression hardens, his voice low. "Yes, and I think they're planning to make a move soon. Your acquisition deal, it's the key to everything. Once the funds are in their hands, it's over. They'll disappear, and no one will ever find them. They've been careful." The weight of his words crashes down on me. I can't let that happen, not when we're so close, Not when the lives of so many people, the team I've built, the families who depend on this company, it's all at risk. But there's a part of me, buried deep inside, that's screaming at myself for not seeing the signs. I should have known. Sophie's strange behavior, her sudden closeness with Ethan, the way she always seemed to be on the phone, away for long lunches, always dodging questions about her side project. I should have questioned it all. But I didn't. And now, it's too late. What do we do now? I ask, the question hanging heavy between us. Greg looks at me, his gaze searching mine. We have to act fast, he says, his voice urgent. I've got a few people who can help, but you need to decide, Claire. This goes deeper than just protecting your company. If we don't move quickly, this could destroy everything you've built. And Sophie, she's already planning her next move. The words hit me like a gut punch. Sophie's planning her next move. She's playing me like a fiddle, and I haven't even realized it. The realization stings, but there's no time for self-pity now. I can't let her take everything away from me. Not my company, not my future, and certainly not my reputation. I stand up abruptly, the weight of the decision crashing down on me. What's the plan? I demand, my voice steady despite the storm raging inside me. Greg doesn't hesitate. We need to confront her. We need to catch her before she disappears with Ethan. If we wait too long, it'll be over. I'll do whatever it takes to protect you, Claire, but you have to trust me. Trust him. Trust Greg, the man who has always had my back, even when things got tough. But trust is hard when the one person I thought I could count on has betrayed me so thoroughly. As I walk out of the restaurant, my heart is a whirlwind of emotions. The night is dark and cold, the streets empty, and I feel the weight of every decision crashing down on me. I'm on the edge now, one wrong move, and everything I've worked for could be lost. But I won't let that happen. I won't let them win. The plan is set. The tension in the air feels suffocating as Greg and I drive to the hotel where Sophie is supposed to be meeting Ethan. I can barely focus on the road ahead, my mind spinning with 1,000 questions. How deep does this betrayal run? Who else is involved? If I confront her now, will she run? Or worse, will she flip the situation, make me the villain in this twisted game? Stay calm, I tell myself. Stay in control. But control is slipping through my fingers faster than I can grasp it. We arrive at the hotel, and everything about it feels wrong. The sleek, polished exterior stands in stark contrast to the chaos churning inside me. I try to steady my breathing as Greg pulls into the parking garage, his eyes never leaving the rearview mirror. We need to be quick. Once we confront her, it'll all come out. There's no going back. His words feel final, as though once we step into that hotel, there's no turning back from whatever happens next. We make our way up to the room, the elevator ride a torturous silence, the soft hum of the motor only amplifying the thoughts racing through my mind. I'm wondering what Sophie will say. Will she lie? Will she try to deny everything? Play the victim? The possibilities seem endless. I keep replaying her face in my mind, all those moments of doubt, the late-night phone calls, the way she'd look at me just a little too long when I questioned her about Ethan. How could I have missed it? When we reach the door to the suite, Greg motions for me to stay behind him. My pulse quickens as he knocks twice, firmly, purposefully. There's no answer. He knocks again, louder this time, his hand hovering near the door handle. Suddenly, we hear a muffled voice from the other side, but it's not Sophie's voice. Who is it? It's a man's voice. Ethan. A cold chill washes over me. I look at Greg, but before I can ask what we do next, the door swings open. And there, standing in the doorway, is Sophie. She's not alone. Ethan is right behind her, his usual calm demeanor replaced by a flicker of something else, something darker. Sophie's eyes widen in shock, then quickly mask it with a smile that feels too forced, too practiced. She straightens her posture as if she hasn't just been caught red-handed. "Claire, what are you doing here?" Sophie asks, her voice deceptively calm. "I didn't expect you." She's caught herself too late. She knows exactly what's coming. I take a step forward, my heart thundering in my chest. "Don't play games with me, Sophie." The words spill out before I can stop them. "I know everything. The money, the illegal deals, the way you've been feeding information to Ethan and hiding it behind the scenes. You've been working with him from the start, haven't you?" I can't help the sharp edge in my voice, the years of trust shattered in an instant. Sophie's face pales, but she recovers quickly, turning to Ethan with a look that says it all. "This is bigger than both of us." Ethan steps forward, his eyes narrowing, a flash of cold calculation behind them. "You shouldn't have come here, Claire," he says, his voice chilling in its calmness. "You've made a mistake." My pulse races. What does he mean by that? What is he planning? In an instant, everything shifts. Sophie's earlier composure cracks as she looks at me with a mixture of anger and desperation. "You don't understand," she says, her voice cracking. "I was trying to protect you, Claire. I was trying to protect us all. You don't know what you're dealing with." I freeze. Protect me? My mind struggles to process what she's saying. Was she really trying to protect me? Or is this another manipulation? Ethan's grip on the situation tightens, and I can see the game he's playing now. "Don't listen to her," he warns, his voice low, dangerous. "She's just trying to justify what she's done. She knows the truth, Claire. She's been part of this all along. We all have." The words hit me like a blow to the chest. I feel the ground beneath me shift, the floor beneath my feet seeming to disappear. What does he mean by that? Part of me wants to believe that Sophie is still on my side, that maybe there's some misunderstanding. But deep down, a darker truth begins to creep into my thoughts. Maybe she's always been part of this plan. Sophie's expression falters, her lips trembling. "I didn't want it to go this far, but I had no choice, Claire. I did this because I wanted to save us both." Her eyes flick to Ethan, then back to me, searching for some sign of understanding, of forgiveness. But I can't give her that. Not anymore. I take a slow, deliberate step back, my hand shaking as I reach for my phone in my pocket, my thumb hovering over the emergency dial. The tension is thick enough to slice through. The room feels like it's closing in on me, but I know one thing for sure. The stakes have just gone through the roof. This wasn't just about business anymore. It's a game of survival, and Sophie, Ethan, and their entire web of deceit have. The air in the room is suffocating. Every word, every glance between Sophie and Ethan feels like a time bomb ticking, ready to explode at any moment. I stand frozen, my mind racing. Save us both. What was she really trying to protect? The question lingers in my mind as I watch Sophie's eyes flicker with a mix of fear and something darker. She's trapped now, cornered by her own lies, and she knows it. Yet somehow, her voice stays steady, her mask unbroken. "You don't get it, Claire. This isn't about us anymore. It's bigger than that." Her words echo in the silence, each syllable weighted with a meaning I can't fully grasp. Ethan steps forward, his tall frame blocking my view of Sophie, his presence as menacing as ever. "What Sophie means to say," he starts, his voice smooth but cold, "is that you're in deeper than you think. This wasn't just about some dirty business deal or insider trading. This is about control, Claire. Power. And you've been sitting on the edge of it, watching without ever truly understanding the game we've been playing. His words slice through me, and for a brief moment I feel my legs weaken. Control? Power? The weight of those words hangs over me like a storm cloud threatening to burst. I want to ask him what he means, but before I can open my mouth, Sophie speaks up again, her voice shaking just enough to reveal the cracks in her composure. It was never supposed to go this far, but once Ethan got involved, there was no turning back. He made me do things I never thought I would. She's looking at me now, her eyes pleading for some kind of understanding. I don't know whether to believe her or hate her even more. But one thing is clear, she's not the person I thought she was. None of them are. I turn to Greg, who's been standing silently by the door, his face unreadable. Is this true? I whisper, my voice barely audible. I've trusted him, fought beside him, and now I need to know where his loyalties lie. He's been with me through everything, so why does this feel like he's holding something back? He doesn't meet my gaze right away, his eyes darting between me and the two people I used to trust. I never knew, Greg mutters, though his words seem hollow. I never knew it was like this. A chill runs through me. How could he not have known? And if he didn't, then how much of this betrayal was orchestrated behind my back? My mind races as I try to piece the puzzle together. Control? Power? A game they've been playing all along. The thought gnaws at me, a deep sense of unease settling in my gut. What have I been walking into? Ethan seems to sense the shift in the room. You should have stayed out of it, Claire, he says, his voice low and dangerous, his eyes narrowing. But now that you're involved, there's no way out. The implication is clear. The trap has been set, and I'm the bait. You can't unsee what you've seen. You can't walk away from this. My chest tightens as the gravity of his words sinks in. This isn't just about Sophie's betrayal anymore. It's about something far more sinister, something that could ruin everything I've worked for, my career, my future, my life. I swallow hard, but my throat feels dry, the weight of the situation too heavy to bear. My pulse quickens, adrenaline flooding my veins. I need a way out. I need to get control back. But how? Before I can formulate a plan, there's a sudden knock at the door. It's sharp, unexpected, like a gunshot in the tense silence. Sophie and Ethan both freeze, exchanging quick, panicked glances. Greg, who has been watching the scene unfold, steps forward cautiously, his hand hovering near the door. Who the hell is that? I murmur, my heart racing even faster. Greg opens the door a crack, peering through. The next moment, his face goes pale. He steps back, his eyes wide with shock. It's the police, he breathes. The words hit me like a slap in the face, and everything inside me goes still. How could they know? Who tipped them off? The room seems to spin as the truth crashes into me. Someone's been watching us. Watching me. But who? Ethan's expression falters for the first time. He quickly exchanges a look with Sophie, then with me, his face hardening. This isn't over, he warns, his voice colder than before. This is just the beginning. My heart pounds in my chest as I glance at the door, at the shadows moving outside, at the officers waiting to step inside. There's no more time for questions, no more time to think. The walls are closing in, and I'm trapped. The only thing I know for sure is that I'm about to be swept into a storm that might destroy everything I've ever known. The sound of the police knocking echoes in my ears, a rhythmic drumbeat that seems to reverberate through my chest, rattling my nerves. I barely have time to react before the door swings open and two officers step into the room, their presence cold and authoritative. The tension thickens immediately, pressing down on me, suffocating the air with its weight. I glance at Greg, whose face has gone ashen. He looks like he's been caught in a lie, and maybe he has. Ethan and Sophie stand motionless, neither one of them daring to make a sound. But me? I'm frozen in place, my breath coming in short, shallow bursts as my heart races in my chest. One of the officers, tall, with steely eyes and a jaw set like granite, locks his gaze on me. "Claire Prescott?" he asks, his voice crisp and commanding. I nod, too afraid to speak, too afraid of what's coming next. He steps closer, pulling out a folder from under his arm. "We need to talk to you about a matter of great importance," he says, his voice low but firm. "You're under investigation in connection with a series of criminal activities involving insider trading and corporate espionage. You've been named in multiple reports." The words hit me like a punch to the gut. Me? I try to blink, to process what he's saying, but my mind feels like it's slipping out of my grasp. Everything I've worked for, every moment of peace I thought I had, feels like it's crumbling to dust beneath my feet. Insider trading? Espionage? I didn't sign up for any of this. My eyes flick to Sophie, who looks as if she's seen a ghost. Ethan, too, is strangely calm, though his lips are pressed into a thin line. Greg is the only one who looks truly unsettled. His hands are shaking as he clutches the edge of the table, his knuckles white. I swallow hard, trying to steady myself, but the officer continues without hesitation, as though he's speaking to someone else entirely. "We've gathered evidence linking you to several high-level meetings that were part of a larger scheme. You've been under surveillance for weeks, Claire. It's only a matter of time before we have enough to charge you." The room feels smaller with every word. The air feels heavier. My thoughts are spiraling. How? Why? I search for a single thread of truth to hold on to, but all I can see are the faces of the people I thought I knew. Sophie, Greg, and Ethan, each of them masking their own secrets behind a facade of familiarity. Could they have set me up? But why? And if I didn't know about these so-called meetings, if I didn't participate, how am I being tied to it all? I feel a rush of anger surge through me. This isn't right. This isn't how it was supposed to go. I need to fight. I need to prove my innocence, but how do I even begin when everything points to me? My hands tremble as I turn back to the officer, desperate to find my voice. "I don't know what you're talking about. I'm not involved in any of this. I'm not guilty." My words are shaky, but they feel like the only thing I have left. This is a mistake. The officer doesn't flinch. His expression remains as impassive as stone, but I notice the slight twitch in his jaw as if he's seen this all before. "We're going to need you to come with us, Miss Prescott," he says. His partner steps forward, his hand hovering near his belt, ready to take hold of the cuffs. The finality of his words hits me with the force of a hammer. It's real. This isn't just a bad dream. I'm about to lose everything. Before I can process it, I hear a voice behind me. "Wait! It's Greg?" His voice is loud enough to break the tension, but it's laced with panic. "There's something you need to know, something you don't know about Sophie and Ethan." He's trembling now, the words coming out in a rush. "They've been lying to you. Everything they've told you is part of a bigger plan, Claire. They've been manipulating you from the start. You're not the target here. You're the scapegoat." The officers turn to Greg, but I don't care about them anymore. My eyes lock on Greg's face, searching for any sign of truth. "What do you mean?" My voice is barely a whisper, but it cuts through the tension like a blade. Greg's eyes dart to Sophie and Ethan, and I see something dark flash across his face. Regret, fear, and maybe even guilt. "They were working with the people who set you up. Sophie's been playing you all along." Sophie's face goes pale, but she doesn't deny it. In fact, she looks relieved. The revelation hits me like a jolt of electricity. Sophie, the person I've trusted more than anyone else, the one who claimed to care for me, has been deceiving me all along. My stomach turns. My mind is a storm of confusion and betrayal. Why? Ethan doesn't even flinch. He's too calm, too in control, and that scares me more than anything else. "This is bigger than you think, Claire," he says, his voice dripping with arrogance. "You were never meant to understand." He looks at the officers, then back at me, and the weight of his words settles over me like a dark cloud. "You've been a pawn in a game you'll never win." Suddenly, everything feels like it's spiraling out of control. I can't breathe. I can't think straight. The walls are closing in again, and the ground beneath my feet feels like it's shifting. I want to scream, to run, to fight back, but I don't know how. I'm caught in a trap, surrounded by enemies, and the truth is slipping further and further away. As the story unfolds, one thing becomes painfully clear. Trust is a fragile thing. Claire, like so many of us, believed in the people around her, only to find herself betrayed by those she loved. In a world where appearances can be deceiving and secrets lurk in the shadows, the truth can often feel like a distant dream. But as Claire's journey continues, it's clear that resilience, courage, and the search for justice will push her to confront the darkest corners of her life. What will she do next? How will she rise from the ashes of betrayal? You won't want to miss what happens next. If you're hooked and can't wait to see how Claire's story unfolds, don't forget to like this video and leave your thoughts in the comments. What would you do in her situation? Do you think Greg, Sophie, or Ethan can be trusted? Hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you won't miss the next gripping chapter of Scylla Reddit stories. Trust us, the best is yet to come, and you won't want to miss a moment. Stay tuned for more twists, turns, and revelations coming your way.